The story begins in Poland in 1957. We see a priest who was very scared and entered the church with a child. The child had a mark on his chest. According to the priest, this child is a devil from hell. He is about to take out a knife and kill the child. Then the police go to stop him. It was in the eclipse. The priest was repeatedly saying that you guys don't know who this is. Don't stop me. And now he picks up a knife. Forced, the police have to shoot him. And then he is killed, and that child is saved alive. Now the story is shown 23 years later. We see Mary, the main character of the story, who is actually a policeman, but comes to the old church disguised as a priest. Because some women had disappeared and were last brought to this church, the police didn't want to search the church openly, because that would be scandalous, so they sent Mary to collect evidence. The people of the church were completely unaware of this. On reaching the church, he meets the father who was the chief here. They show Mary the whole church, after which her belongings are searched because the church rules are very strict. After showing Mary the room, the priest says it would be better if you don't leave the room at night. Because it was strictly forbidden to walk around the church at night, Mary told that I will take care of these things. There was no electricity or telephone. It was a strange place where no one came in or went out. These people were separated from the rest of the world. Here Mary changes her clothes, and here we see the same mark on her chest as we saw on the child's chest at the beginning of the story. It means it is the same child. Then he opens his bag, which is hidden in a secret place, a camera, gun, and some essentials, and a shredded piece of newspaper, on which many girls were reported missing. And he came here to investigate the same case. He eats together with everyone. But they did not understand what was being given in food, but they had to eat. Mary was disgusted by this food, because it looked like a strange thing like skin, but everyone else was eating it. Therefore, he also ate it. Secretly later, as he walks down the hall, he passes a room where he notices a woman. In fact, according to the church, this woman has been possessed by the devil. That is, the devil has penetrated into her, and the people of the church treat such people with an exorcism, that is, with a spell. Tonight they were all going to treat this girl, and he is seeing all this for the first time. The woman was tied with a rope in a room. A priest is also recording the video of the whole process. Now the priest starts reading the Bible. That woman also began to suffer badly. She screamed loudly, and strange noises started coming from inside it, and the bed was also shaking. When the priest takes the cross in front of him and starts prayer, but seeing that the cross caught fire, everyone gets scared. The priest does not stop praying, and after a while the exorcism ends. At the same time, a painting is shown with strange insects coming out of its eyes. After seeing all this, Mary's health becomes very bad. He is in the washroom. Then his glass starts breaking on its own, and there are strange sounds coming from his room, which scares him a lot. But Mary doesn't believe it. According to him, everything is a deception. Nothing else. And then he walks down the hall. He stops in front of a room. Actually, it was the prayer room before he goes in. The father tells him that it is the prayer room no one can enter without permission. Mary leaves without saying anything to anyone. And then at dinner they are served the same rotting skin again, which was not even cooked properly. There was also a new boy who hated food. And then he is crying. The priest sends another servant to the boy, and after whispering something in his ear, the boy also starts eating the skin. There was no doubt that there was something wrong with the food, because afterwards Mary vomited too, and even one of his teeth fell out. Mary starts to look at him carefully. It is strange that a fly comes out of that tooth. Mary gets quite scared. In the middle of the night, he sneaks into the priest's room. There is a secret door, where many tape recordings were lying. And these were the recordings of the people whose exorcism had been done so far. Also there was alcohol and music cassettes, and the wrong type of magazines were also lying around. This means these people are just pretending to be good. After that, Mary goes to the place where the girl had her seizure and finds a syringe under the bed. The girl was drugged or something, so she was acting crazy that day. And the cross that the priest was using was actually a lighter, and there was a button that made the bed vibrate. Everything that happened that day was just dramatic. Yes, the girl was real. She was just one of their hunters. From this, he understands that the people here do not know what will happen to the girls who disappeared. The next morning, when everyone gathered to pray, the priest asked Mary to pray because he had suspected Mary. That he is not a priest, he starts to pray in English, so the priest asks him to pray in Latin, in which Mary is stuck, so the others pray instead. In the afternoon again, the same skin is found to eat. This time Mary also finds hair in the food. What he saw made him vomit. The purpose for which he had come here was to be fulfilled as soon as possible. Now it was in the sight of the priest. So he went to his room and burned a piece of newspaper, and he keeps his gun with him so that he can protect himself when the time comes. When he comes out, he sees some priests digging a grave together because the girl who was subjected to exorcism is dead. At night he goes to the place where the people, including both men and women, were kept mad. According to them, all of them have gone mad, and then a priest who was a mock master sees Mary. He comes to talk to her secretly, and says that they all know that you have come here to find evidence. But here it's hard to get out. I tried too. Once you're in, you can't get out. So if you want to stay alive, don't answer any questions and do what you're told. And Mary tells him the truth that I am not a priest, I am a policeman. 8 girls have disappeared from this village. It is said that they were sent here for exorcism. The police cannot take direct action in this case. So I have a disguised ego, and I know that these exorcism are all frauds, so that they do it to receive money from the big convent. Later, the priest says that during the exorcism, those women went mad and died. But what actually happens to them? I don't even know myself. Mary promises him that I will get you out of here. After that, he goes back to the church room to check it. He was shown a big hole behind a cupboard, inside which Mary found a wire wrapped in wood and an eye. Then the eye started moving on its own, which scared Mary and throws it away. And with that, he vomited up flies. Mary saw something in front of him. He panicked, but the next moment she was gone. After crushing that eye, he goes to his room. At night, he goes to the church cemetery. He starts digging the grave where the girl was buried. But when Mary digs it, it is empty, and Mary was watching this thing in fear. Then someone came from behind and grabbed him and made him unconscious. When Mary opened his eyes, he was tied to the bed in his room. Father was sitting there in front and keeping watch. After some time, the priest came here. He brought food in 4 separate dishes. They give Mary food to eat, but he refuses. He asks them, "What is this thing that you have brought in 4 separate vessels?" The priest does not give any answer, and then forcefully, he feeds him the food. He had caught the eye of the father while keeping watch in the night, and taking advantage of this, he opens himself. But by then the father had also woken up. The 2 of them had a fight in which Mary took his own gun and killed father. After leaving the room, he first went to the kitchen to find out what was being served to him. He opens the door, and he loses consciousness because there were all the mutilated bodies of women hanging there. And he had been eating the skin of these women for so many days. They were all the same women whose disappearance he got the news of, so the Hmong were also there, and seeing all this, he also fainted. He asks Mary to come with him because he knows the secret passage, but before that he takes her to the library, because there was something Mary was completely unaware of. He shows her a book. In this old book it was mentioned that a child will be born when there is an eclipse, and this happens only once in 800 years. It has to be killed as soon as it is born, which requires a dagger and a prayer. But if it is not killed at the right time, that demonic child, that human being, will drink the blood of 7 sinful women. And then, when the prayer is fulfilled, that devil will be transformed into his true form, after which no one can save this world from his wrath. Hmong says to Mary that you are the devil, and for so many days you were being fed the skin of these 7 sinful women, so that they could bring out the devil living in hell, because in this book, one of the devils, there was a mark, and a similar mark is also on your body. Now after knowing all this, both of them think of running away. Hmong knew of a tunnel underground where he had tried to escape before. Maru doesn't believe him, so he shows her the scars on his stomach that were made by whipping the skin for running away. Now Mary agrees. They both move forward in the tunnel, but it is actually a trick of Hmong. On the way, 2 men came and started beating Mary. Then they catch him. When he regains consciousness, Mary sees that he was tied to a tree. They tell Mary that your ego here was not a coincidence, but we bribed the policemen so that they would give this case to Mary. They say the devil is not bad but human. That's why he will be punished. He points to a well and says that it goes straight to hell. That's why we built our church here. We have been waiting for you for 800 years. As soon as the prayer is fulfilled, that devil of hell will enter your body. And then the shape of this world will change. He will rule this world. In fact, these people did not believe in God, but they were going to believe devil because they say that we will become slaves of the devil. After a while, these people bring this innocent girl and cut her throat, because his blood was to feed Mary. They all start drinking her blood one by one, after which the priest forces Mary to drink her blood. Mary didn't want to die, but then they all start reciting the spell to summon the devil together. But after long spells, nothing happens there. and now Mary laughed at them because they believed in an old book. No one understands why this is happening, and they all get frustrated. Mong tells everyone that maybe it was our misunderstanding. We all will soon forget it because our intentions were good. But they were afraid that these people might not be trapped, because the police could come here looking for him any time. Mong stabs Mary in the stomach and kills her, and they leave by throwing her body in the same well. After leaving, the priest drinks a lot of wine, disappointed that his years of hard work have gone to waste. And then at the same time, the cross on the wall turned upside down on itself, but they didn't see it. Now Mong comes to the priest and makes him lie down on a sofa. The priest says that I was going to be a slave to the devil, but now I am nothing. Then Mong puts a pillow over the priest's mouth and kills him because Mong was angry with him. Actually, this priest had ruined all their lives, and only on his request, they were doing all this without thinking. After killing him, Mong lies to everyone that he died due to drinking too much. Then they also burn the women they killed, so that if the police come to the place, they will not find any evidence. Then we see that a fly comes out of the priest's body, which flies from there and goes into the same well and into Mary's body, and then Mary comes back to life. Gradually, his body started to change into something else, which is nothing else. Rather, it was the devil, and he was in his true form, while everyone was praying for the priest. Then we see that Mong's body slowly started flying in the air, and then his body completely turns into flies and disappears. Then a terrible thing is seen coming out of the tunnel, and it was none other than the devil himself. The one whom these people were trying to summon was heard in Mary's body, and then returned to his original form. And the bodies of the rest of the people also hang upside down one by one, and they also die a horrible death. And everything that was alive in the church began to die, and that which was dead had become a new life. Now when the devil comes in front of the statue, the face of the statue also turns towards him. And then everything was upside down, and a black liquid started falling from the sky on top of the church. Actually, it was the gate of hell that had now opened, and it would swallow the church and change the soul of the whole world. And this will turn the whole world upside down as well. Now the devil will rule, and now no one can save the world from being destroyed by his demonic powers, as he has been awakened forever. And with this dangerous scene, the story ends here. If you want to see more mysterious videos, subscribe now.